back. It is that time again for another round of a podcast. So there's a lot of information and a lot of stuff that has happened. I'm trying to pick and choose what topic I might be able to debunk or provide some insight for, because after all, that was the point of this whole channel, was to provide some insight, some factual information, and to debunk the stuff that gets thrown around in social media. So just so you know, this is episode 2. And this is Anything Goes Podcast, the slowest growing podcast in the nation. Thank you. And man, a lot has transpired this month. So I'm doing one full episode a month, the longer episodes that gets the least views, because I found out that it's always just better to do shorter clips, anything under 3 minutes, anything you could put in TikTok and Instagram in your reels, that those are the ones that are going to get views. People don't really use YouTube for podcasts, they're more for informative. If you want to build something, if you want to look at a review of something, I think that's what people use YouTube for. At least I do. That's what I use it for. And we could have seen it coming if we would have listened to the Oarfish. What is the Oarfish? I think I'm saying it right. So the Oarfish is like this long, eel-looking silver fish that lives in the deep. But when it washes up ashore, it means something bad's going to happen. They say usually earthquakes. In the Japan earthquakes, it was like 20 that washed up ashore a few days before. So that kind of lived to its name. And guess what happened last year before the election? That's right. The Oarfish. In August 2024, snorkelers found an oarfish in California 2 days before an earthquake hit that region. However, scientists believe this was a coincidence, of course. So before the election last year that Trump won, there was oarfishes washing up ashore, sign of doom, maybe some doomsday coming, right? Washed ashore in California on November 6th. What was the election? Oh, look, the election was November 5th. And yet, the oarfish washed up ashore the very next day. So as soon as Trump won the election, the Doomsday fish washes up ashore in California. Can't make this up. But maybe that was a sign of things to come. And here we are now. So you might have heard that podcaster Charlie Kirk was murdered, and maybe you hadn't heard of him until it became huge news, and you saw how the whole MAGA movement got together behind him and started mourning his death. But it took a few crazy turns, and it's taken a few wild turns since then, beginning with, when it comes to something like that, it doesn't have to be said that, oh, he doesn't deserve to die, or he didn't deserve to die because he said this. Of course not. Of course no one deserves to die, even no matter what they say. Even if you argue that what he said was not racist, or that it was, of course no one deserves to die. We have freedom of speech. You don't deserve to die for... No one has a right to take away someone's life. Okay, we know that. No one is saying he should have. Obviously, there's going to be trolls. There's going to be people that didn't like him and that don't care and that decided to celebrate. And, maybe it was karma that got back to him. A lot of people lost their jobs for celebrating it. That I could understand to a certain point. But when you just mention it, when you just talk about it, when you quote him, the things that he said, why would you lose your job for that? Then there's no more freedom of speech, right? And didn't he go on campuses using his First Amendment right, freedom of speech? So I don't want to talk too much about Charlie Kirk. I knew who he was. I made a video where I stitched some of the things that he said that I thought was nonsense. But at the end of the day, it was graphic. It was horrible. I felt weird. I felt strange that whole day. the day of his murder, even when I was falling asleep, I was like, man, did that really happen? Like seeing his body go limp and the blood gush out. I did learn that his wife and his kids were not there. That's what they initially said. They were not there. But the conspiracies have came up even from those within his own circle. Candace Owens, his friend, she worked at Turning Point, or I don't know if she still works there. She feels that Israel had something to do with it. He was a staunch supporter of Israel, but lately he had started changing his tune a bit. He even questioned, I think there was a video where he questioned about the Hamas attack, that it was kind of perpetrated by Israel, you know, to use it as an excuse to go in there, demolish Gaza, and take over. That's a big conspiracy. To me, that's a long shot. I mean, I think it's a possibility. I wouldn't think that would be the only reason if somehow Israel was behind it. I think more would be the result to use that murder for their own benefit. And what's transpired after that leads me to believe that maybe there was something behind it, or there is a conspiracy, seeing how they politicize it, see how they wasted no time in using it to, you know, as a rally cry for all the MAGA to get together. I didn't care too much of it, you know, I didn't care too much of it. But then things started striking me kind of weird when 2 days later, or I think the next day or 2 days later, you know, he's in the plane, in the casket, and his wife, Erica Kirk, she's mourning him and she says goodbye. And the casket is open and she has somebody recording while she's laid out over his body and touching his hand. I don't know about you, but that's not a moment where I'm like, here, record this. Why are you recording that? When you mourn, you don't have to show that you're mourning, you know? You don't have to prove to anybody that you're sad. If you're sad, you're going to mourn no matter what. And I feel like that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I thought it was kind of strange, but I was like, well, you know, maybe it's her and she's weird. I don't know. But then when I heard her little eulogy next to his chair, taking the time to ask for donations to Turning Point in his name, I'm like, what? Some things just didn't make sense. You know, when it is a time to mourn, when are you just feeling like bad and you want to get over it and you just want to say good things? Like, she wasted no time on politicizing the moment and using it to catapult her to a higher position. And don't even get me started with the memorial. That was not a memorial. That was a rally event. That was a pay-per-view with fireworks, with speakers, and the things that were said there, and just tables and tables of posters with Charlie Kirk saying, Charlie wants you to register to vote. Charlie, blah, blah, blah. Like, why are you putting words into a dead man's mouth? Like, yeah, obviously he wanted you to do that. That's why he went around campuses doing that. That's why he went throwing his hats, throwing MAGA caps to all the students. So that whole thing to me was weird. But the conspiracy is this. How long have I had? I thought it'd been 7 minutes. Crap. Anyways, the conspiracy is this. There was no exit wound. And it was a 30-06 bullet. And those bullets are the ones where the videos, they show it. They shoot a watermelon and it explodes. Like, it disintegrates. Like, the watermelon turns into water in the air. Obviously, that was from closer range. So 150 to 200 yards away, that bullet would have splashed his neck. Not just a hole in his neck. It would have splashed out through the back. And you would have seen, you know, an explosion of blood in the wall behind him. So now they're saying, the doctor came out and said, oh, he was the Man of Steel. He was a Superman because the bullet hit his neck and it stopped there. I think, you know, we can't dictate, or you can never dictate what a bullet does when it enters the body, because it bounces around in there. the trajectory of it changes with the weirdest touch of a bone or something inside. But for there to not be an exit wound, if it really was that type of rifle that they say it was, it doesn't make sense. And yeah, it would have broken the bone through the bone. It could have been something strange where it just stopped. It stopped on the bone. But then the doctor said that the bullet was right under the skin. So it was stopped by the bone. It would have been lodged in the bone. Or did it bounce back out? And then there is a flash from the window that's to his right. When the gunshot fires, there's a flash. There's a flash on the window, like if the shot came from that side. And that's what they're saying, that the shot that people saw where blood came out was the exit wound, not the entrance wound. So let's put it all to rest, right? Let's see what the autopsy says. Guess what? There was no autopsy. They did not do an autopsy. But yet, in less than 2 days, they got his body and the casket and they flew it to Arizona without an autopsy. If you look back at other well-known assassinations in the areas where the crime scenes happen, they go under construction. Look at what happened in that college where he was at. They're putting pavement or tile on all the floor, on all the grass there. So it's literally under construction right after he died. That doesn't make sense to me. When you really have God, you don't believe in a specific nation, in a specific way to demoralize or put down other people based on how they look or where they're from. Religion is not supposed to do that. When someone starts doing that, then that religion is no longer of God. And he did that a lot. There's clips, and not just clips, there's long clips of what he believed in. And at the end of the day, he believed in the Great Replacement Theory, which is that countries are purposely sending immigrants to wipe out the white person in this country. And that's a theory that has led to many mass shootings. Targeted Mexicans, targeted black people, because they believe in that theory that white people are under attack and they're trying to get replaced. I think believing in that theory in itself is not Christian. Christian nationalism is not Christianity. It's a form of government that uses religion and the Bible to cover up what they're really doing behind the curtain. It's the smokescreen. Christian nationalism, like I said, it's not Christianity. It's a form of rising. It's a form of using the Bible and the Christian teaching to give power into government. And they're going to rely on the moral aspect, on the common sense of it, to get people to vote on it. But what they're trying to pass are not benefiting thy neighbor or the oppressed or the poor at all. And that's what Jesus' teaching was. So as soon as it starts going against the teaching of Christ, it is no longer Christianity. And they claim a lot that Christianity is under attack. And I think to a certain point, it is in a certain aspect. Not the way they're seeing it, though. It's not under attack by liberals or people that don't want to live their life by religion, because there's always been free will. There's always been the majority of people that don't want to follow religion or God. Christianity is under attack by fake Christians, by people in government, politicians, and those in power that are pretending to be Christian and giving Christians a bad name, giving actual conservatives a bad name. So when I mention conservatives, I'm not talking about those true Christians. I'm talking about the political aspect of what it is to be a conservative. Because nowadays, conservative, you can do anything. You can get away with anything. But an actual conservative will not do that. An actual conservative will live by the teaching of Jesus Christ. And speaking of Christianity, The Heritage Foundation is the one that has passed that Project 2025, and the one behind, this Trump administration, the one that we try to warn you guys about, and not enough people listened. Heritage. I want to talk about the Heritage Foundation really quick, and then move on to Nick Fuentes, and then the whole popularity of Hitler in this day and age, in this generation. Moving on to the part of the Heritage Foundation that I wanted to talk to because I think it's important. The ones behind Project 2025 that made that colossal mandate for Trump and for all the white supremacists in suits and ties. It was made by the Heritage Foundation. They've existed before. They weren't just formed last year. So before we look exactly into the Heritage Foundation, I think it's important to look at the definition just of what heritage is. Heritage refers to traditions, cultures, languages, buildings, and other value elements passed down from previous generations. It can also describe a person's background, such as their ethnic and cultural history, or anything handed down by birth. Like a birthright? Traditions and culture they receive from their ancestors, from their European ancestors. So why do you think these certain group of white people form the Heritage Foundation? Because they believe in what I just read. Their heritage, their ancestors, the ones that came here and built this country, they feel that it's for them. It's for them. I'm going to show a clip when the guy's talking about they built this country for us. Our ancestors built it for us. They're talking about themselves. They're not talking about you, minority. They're not talking about you that came from parents from another country. They're not even talking about me either, despite the fact that I was born here in the States. The Heritage Foundation is an influential conservative think tank based in Washington, D.C. They advocate for policies based on the principles of free enterprise, limited government, and a strong national defense. The foundation aims to shape public policy by providing conservative solutions on issues like inflation, not doing good there, immigration, education, and foreign policy. It explicitly states its goal is to, quote unquote, institutionalize Trumpism. Does it get more black and white than that? That was the goal the whole time. That was their purpose. That was what they wanted to do. That's why, if you ever wonder, why do they keep on ignoring what Trump does and what Trump says, and how do they not care how they're separating families? It's like, because their goal remains the same. This is their golden ox. This is their idol. This is the one that they could hold on to and ride it through to their destiny, through their manifest destiny. This project proposes significant changes to the federal government. Its detailed policy document, Mandate for Leadership, includes plans to, let's see if any of this sounds familiar, expand executive power. That's been like the number one thing. There's 3 branches of government, so one side of these 3 sides of government does not have too much power, especially the president. But the purpose right here, when it means expand executive power, it means consolidate power. It means take the power from the 2 other branches into the executive branch, and the executive branch controls everything. Dismantle or restructure federal agencies. Right away, boom, start dismantling USAID, USAID, whatever. Started dismantling, firing everybody from all these agencies. Oh, we don't need you. We don't need this people from the CDC, from the weather, NOAA, from FEMA, FBI, firing and minimizing all these federal agencies. Replace, look at this one, replace career civil servant workers working in the government for the benefit of the people. Replace them with political appointees aligned with its ideology. Like, if we don't know that MAGA and Trumpism is an ideology, but they are going after everybody right now that worked for Biden or that it somehow worked to prosecute Trump or any of his plans, any of his appointees. So we see he's been more interested in revenge and retribution more than he has been in helping out the country or the everyday worker, the middle class, every American. He does not care about that right now. He's drunk with power. And then misinformation. The key thing that triggers me and started triggering me since 2015, 2016. Misinformation. Social media, the internet. You don't need to lie when the truth is on your side. And the criticism and controversy of the Heritage Foundation promoting misinformation related to the election fraud. They publicized misleading information. They gave out fake flyers, and they accused nonprofits of illegal voting activity. This is a Homeland Security tweet. A heritage to be proud of, a homeland worth defending. American Progress, John Gass. In a course I took of Mexican-American War, in the documentary, they had this picture when it was talking about the manifest destiny and how the colonials came and overtook. And if we see in this picture, we see the white lady that's representing like the manifest destiny and pretty much occupying, committing some kind of genocide, ethnic cleansing. Like, we're here, we're running you guys out. This picture is very significant to those times when the United States began to expand and murder innocent people from their land. So this is what Homeland Security posted. They're talking about their heritage. Remember when I read the definition of what heritage is? This is what it is to them. This is them arriving in this country, getting, indigenous out, getting anybody that's not European white out. That's what it means. That's what it stands for. But then there's something else to this. 14 words in there. 2 capitals. 2 capital H's. A heritage. Does heritage need to be capitalized? No, it's not a word. It's not, you're not talking about the Heritage Foundation. You're not naming a company. You're just saying a heritage to be proud of. But why would they capitalize HH? Why are there 14 words? What does that matter? You might be asking yourself. Well, there's something that has to do with 1488. 1488 says, 1488 is a combination of 2 popular white supremacist numeric symbols. The first symbol is 14, which shorthand for the 14-word slogan. So 1488, we saw those 14 words in that tweet. There's 2 capital H's. I'll tell you, that's the 88. The 14-word slogan is, we must secure the existence of our people and the future for white children. We must secure the existence of our people and the future for white children. So let's go back to this. Someone asked, what are the chances that there are 14 words in this and they capitalize 2 H's? What's HH mean? That's the 88. It's the 8th letter in the alphabet. It's a dog whistle. HH stands for Hail Hitler. I'm not making this up. You could Google it yourself. 1488. You will see, if you go into the depths of the internet and social media, you will see pro-Nazis, pro-Hitler, white supremacists. They put 1488. For the 14-word slogan, 88, Hail Hitler. The alignment of exactly 14 words, 88 capitalization, echoing 88 for Hail Hitler, AD numerology, and the painting symbolizing white colonial expansion over native land mirrors known white supremacist dog whistles like the 14-word slogan. The HS has denied similar past accusations as coincidences, but the precision here makes pure chance unlikely. I'd estimate under 30% probability. Scrutiny is warranted. So this is what I'm trying to tell you guys about the Heritage Foundation and about conservatives and Christian nationalism and why they wanted power, why they allowed Trump to get into power, why they've allowed all this to happen. Because this is their moment in history. The experiment of the United States was not working for them. Too many immigrants, too many non-whites are enjoying this country that was not built for them or for us. It was built for their ancestors. So let me show you another clip, because we've already got somewhere, right? We're breaking down this heritage foundation that's in charge of this presidency that we're living right now. All right, so this is the video. This is Senator Eric Schmitt from Missouri, I believe. And this is what he says. This video quality is really poor. It would have taken me too long to go into the actual video and find it, but it's more what he's saying than the visual. So check it out.
For us, America in all its glory is their gift to us, handed down across the generations. It belongs to us. It's our birthright. It's our heritage, our destiny. If America is everything and
it's our heritage, our destiny,
everyone, then it is nothing and no one at all. When they tear down our statues and monuments, mock our history, and insult our traditions, they're attacking our future as well as our past.
Tearing down the statues, I think that's the Confederate statues that he's referring to.
By changing the stories we tell about ourselves, they believe they can build a new America, with the new myths, new people. But America doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us. It's our home. It's a heritage entrusted to us by our ancestors. It's a way of life that is ours, and only ours. If we disappear, then America, too, will cease to exist.
Wow. So what do you guys perceive as it doesn't belong to them, it belongs to us? Who is them? Think about it. Who do you think he's referring to when he's saying it doesn't belong to them, it belongs to us? Let's hear that part again.
But America doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us.
Us.
It's our home. It's a heritage entrusted to us by our ancestors. It's a way of life that is ours, and only ours. If we disappear, then America, too, will cease to exist.
So yeah, that's also the great replacement theory. That's what he's saying. If we cease to exist, because they have it, actually statistically, the way it's going, the white man, the white people were gonna kind of go extinct because of the numbers of interracial children that were, and the amount of immigration that was coming to this country. So they knew that. They seen those numbers. They knew that it was going to get to that point. And that's obviously not what they wanted. So now they have the golden opportunity that they have a white person as president willing to push all this that they wanted to this whole time. And that's what's happening right now. That is Project 2025. That is J.D. Vance. That is Peter Thiel. That is Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute. I'm running low on time, and I wasn't going to get into Nick Fuentes and the things that he has said. That somehow makes sense, even though he's a self-proclaimed Nazi. But it's not just about being Nazi, because we relate that with white supremacy. So whether or not they're pro-Hitler or not, they're pro-white supremacy. They want that. They want their breed to be dominant and to exist in this country. That's why when I see people from my own community, from my own church saying, oh, all conservatives are not fascists, why are you calling us that? And, oh, you guys call us racist and blah, blah, blah. Because you're supporting a racist regime. You're supporting a white supremacist administration. You're supporting Project 2025. You're supporting someone who went up there with the presidential seal and did the Nazi salute. That's what you're defending still. Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance. That's what you guys are defending. You see what ICE has been doing, racially profiling, and you still wonder why we call you guys racist or why we say the things about you about being fascist when you're still supporting that. It doesn't make sense. That's not Christianity. And if you don't want to be called fascist, then maybe don't support an administration that hires fascists. What do I mean, you might be asking yourself? Let's look at the clip again.
Secretary
Here
has moved from the fringes directly into the halls of government itself. The New York Times dropped this explosive new report calling out by name members of the Trump administration who expressed opinions that would probably get most people fired, like Darren Beattie, who previously wrote on social media, quote, "Competent white men must be in charge. Unfortunately, our national ideology is predicated on coddling the feelings of women and minorities and demoralizing competent white men." He's now a State Department employee and head of the U.S. Institute for Peace. And Paul Ingracia, who has posted on social media, quote, "Exceptional white men are not only the builders of Western civilization, but are the ones most capable of appreciating the fruits of our heritage." He is now Trump's pick to lead the Office of Special Counsel. And Kingsley Wilson, who said, quote, "The Great Replacement theory isn't a right-wing conspiracy theory. It's reality." She's now the Pentagon press secretary.
It's not a theory, it's reality. You heard the woman. The great replacement theory is reality. That's the theory that all white supremacists in this country go by, including Charlie Kirk. He's on the record saying that it's not a theory, it's reality. And the other guy also mentioned their heritage. So maybe I should title this episode to the Heritage episode or something like that. I was going to talk about politics specifically with Dan Quinn for Facts News, which you get the facts and you keep away from Fox because they're the opposite of facts. But he has a sore throat. He's our lead correspondent, so I had to fill in for all the talking of kind of political stuff, but not really, because I'm just bringing light to what is going on and who's behind the curtain and the government and the presidency, and how, if you notice, how many times they asked Trump something. Oh, I wasn't aware. I had no idea about that. Oh, I'm not too sure. I'll look into it. I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I made a video of him saying, I don't know. I have no idea about so many things that he's supposed to know because he's president. He doesn't care. He's on autopilot. He's like, let me get revenge. Let me tweet. Let me get revenge. Let me go golfing. Politicize this, politicize that. And let all his administration, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, do what they want to do. So right now I'm at 41 minutes pre-edited. So it's going to be a little bit less than that, but not too much, because I'm not going to edit it this much. I've been editing the videos where I don't have any gaps, and anything I stumble on, maybe stutter one time, I edit it out. I'm like, man, who cares? Not enough people listen to it to be like, oh, there's a gap right there. Oh, why did he stop talking? Why is he? Oh, he stuttered right there. Why did he stutter? Enough of that. But I do want to get into since we're talking about the Heritage Foundation, the 1488, the Hail Hitler. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know how your algorithms are. I don't know how alarming this might be to you. But yes, the mustache man, the little mustache man, the person we grew up, the face of evil, the devil himself, Hitler, has made a resurgence in today's times. He has gained a huge amount of popularity. If you haven't noticed, you could, if you look into some of the comments, and everyone is saying the mustache man was right. He was right all along. We should have listened to him. People posting his speeches in the background while they're working out. People put in 1488. And I even talked to somebody from my family in their 20s, and they were kind of excusing some of the Holocaust stuff that had happened. And I know where all this comes from. I understand where it comes from. It's because they see the genocide that Israel is doing. Israel has been controlling, manipulating the U.S. government, and the U.S. government is tied to them, supplying them with arms, and using, of course, the Christianity. Hey, Israel, we're the chosen ones. You guys have to help us out. You guys are Christian. You're a Christian nation. So if you're a Christian nation, then you have to help out God's chosen. Yeah, but God's chosen is everybody now. God's chosen is not only Israel. It was at one point until we know what they did to his only son. And that opened the door to the rest of the world. So now salvation is not for Israel, or not just for Israel. It's for the whole world. Anyways, so seeing what Netanyahu has done, seeing the atrocities that they have done in Palestine to Gaza, it has made people really be against them. Like, that's why any Democrat that has come out in support of Palestine have the biggest popularity and have easily won their primaries. They're the most popular ones right now, the ones that refuse to take money from AIPAC. And it's because they see what Netanyahu has done, how he's able to come to our Congress, our Capitol, give a speech, get a standing ovation from both political parties, despite committing genocide. And they're committing genocide in a similar way that Nazi Germany did to them. That's my warning. that little guy, the little devil himself, Hitler, has gained a lot of popularity recently because people agree with him now because of what Israel is doing. But what I don't get, like, how do you not separate the two? He did commit atrocities against the Jews. Innocent women and children were killed. Just because Israel's doing something right now that is horrible to other people doesn't justify it. Two wrongs don't make a right. Why are you all of a sudden defending Hitler? In that case, you might as well defend Netanyahu too. Israel didn't come into... Their country didn't form until after the death of Hitler or after the end of the war. So you can't say, oh, well, Israel... No. Two wrongs don't make a right. I grew up knowing that Hitler and the Nazis were the ultimate bad guys, and they're the ones any pro-Nazi or pro-fascist deserves to get punched in the face at any time. So, no, don't defend them just because of what Israel is doing. That is ridiculous. That is insane. And it just seems like Hitler's like Voldemort. Like, he's dead, right? He was supposed to have died, but you can't kill that type of evil. It's like it reinvents itself. Like, Voldemort found his way to come back. And I think that's what Hitler is. I feel that's what Hitler has done through social media. He's found a way to reinvent himself and now be in good grace with so many people now in this generation. Since we were on the topic of Nazis and Zionists and whatnot, this is Nick Fuentes. He was really hated, self-proclaimed neo-Nazi, kind of racist, I guess, but he's been very critical of Trump and the Republican Party, and he feels like a lot of people that they don't do enough for them. Like, so he's been getting posted a lot by people from the left because he sounds like he's making sense. So I would have never thought I would post him, but check out what he says.
Whoa, he's better than the Democrats. For who? For who? Trump is better than the Democrats for Israel, for the oil and gas industry, for Silicon Valley, for Wall Street. Is he really better for us? I don't think so. My student loans got like reactivated or something. You know what Biden did? Biden made it so that medical debt doesn't go on your credit report. That was good for me. Biden tried to forgive the student loans. That was good for me. Now, I'm not saying vote for Biden. I'm not saying vote for anyone in particular. Don't you understand? I'm saying Republicans want you to eat a shit sandwich and be okay with it because you're taking one for the team. Ben Shapiro is going to sit there and say, Israel needs $25 billion, but if you expect me to forgive your student loans, well, that's not basic economics. He's taking his own side. Get it? We are supposed to take their side. We're supposed to have this team player. I'll vote for Republican no matter what. Oh, okay, you won't forgive my student loans? Okay, well, that's because the free market said so. The free market says that Republicans have enough money to bomb Iran, but not enough money to pay for my student loans. And I'm going to vote for that because I'm an idiot, because I'm a sucker, because I like getting raped. I like when my money's taken from me. I like being screwed. Like, that's you. You're a fucking cuck. You understand? You're a fucking loser. Like, do you get it? You're sitting there rationalizing like nothing has gotten better for us. Nothing has gotten better for us at all. At all. They changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico on the map. They're changing the name of the Pentagon to the Department of War. They bought a 10% stake in Intel. They're bringing in all these visas. They're bombing Iran. Trump, I've seen what you could do for others. Bless me in the same way. They won't. They won't do it. You vote to get screwed, and you think you're on the team?
I mean, that was pretty self-explanatory. You have somebody that's a Republican that had a dinner with Trump himself. And I think he still supports him. But he's able to say that because he's not, he's not bought. That's the one thing you could give his little 27 or 29-year-old white butt is that he's not bought. He's not taking money from other, special interest groups like you guys might know Tim Pool, Benny Johnson. I forgot what were the other two that were paid by Russia to spew certain talking points, certain pro-Trump, pro-Russia points, anti-Biden points. They were paid $10,000 per podcast episode. Or was it $40,000? I don't know, but they were paid to say certain things, and these people still have a following. They still like, what? As soon as I find out that someone that I'm listening to was getting paid to say certain things, so because they want me to believe something that they want. No, dude, I'm not a sucker. Like he said, don't be a cuck, dude. Don't be a sucker. You've reached a level of brain rot. You're connected to the Matrix. The moment that you believe and listen to what a podcaster is saying, that podcaster is getting paid and is given a program of bullet points and outline of what they need to say so you could believe them. No, that's crazy. Anyways, that was episode 2. I didn't think the Heritage Foundation was going to take so long. That was episode 2. I don't know what to call it. The white supremacy is here. The Heritage Foundation is here. No, I don't know. We'll see. But I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. This was episode 2. It was lengthy. I usually end off with a review of something I watched, a movie. I don't have anything right now. I have not been able to see anything. So thank you all for stopping by. Yeah. Until next time, I have a lot more information if I ever have the time to come out here, and if I ever have the time. But thanks for listening. Thanks for stopping by. If you've listened to it, here's a part where I say, click on the subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. I know the couple people that have done it. No one else does. So, thanks for those who have supported, who have told me in person. The rest of you, I don't care. You can go to hell. I'll never want to see you again. Just kidding. Until next time, though. Right. Peace out.